What's going on, my fellow degenerates? Passion here once again with another video with some Overwatch 2 gameplay. So today, I wanted to talk about something that I've been seeing kind of more and more since the hero ban system was introduced in Season 16 of Overwatch 2. And that is how the hero ban system is being misused in my rank, and especially like in a lot of the lower ranks in the game. It's not that the system is necessarily broken. I think that just a lot of players are using it for the wrong reasons. If you've been playing a ton of competitive this season, you probably, or even last season, you probably already know what I'm talking about here. But the problem is this trend that I've seen of what I'd like to call, and I think other people have called this too, emotional banning. And what that means is instead of banning heroes based on strategy or team comp or the map we're playing on, especially now that we have map voting in Season 17, so we know what map we're going to well in advance. You have time to like kind of plan it out. Nobody's banning off of that. People are just banning heroes just because they annoy them, or because someone just told them that that hero was OP, or maybe they had a bad game against that hero a few games ago, or they themselves specifically don't know how to deal with that hero. And it seems to be the same bans like every game. I'm talking Sombra, Freja, and Zarya. There's been a couple of others as well that I've seen, but I think those three are the biggest targets for these emotional bans. It doesn't matter what map we're on. It doesn't matter if the enemy team even plays them. It doesn't matter if anybody on our team plays them. They just get insta-banned, right? Just instantly deleted. And I've seen Sombras get banned on New Junk City, a map with tons of high ground, clear sight lines. Not even close to her best movement on that map. I've seen Zarya get banned on Circuit Royale, where she struggles to build energy quickly because of all the open space. People are not even thinking when they pick their ban. They're just clicking. They're just clicking the ban. And I do get it. There are some heroes that are just plain annoying to deal with, but there's a difference between targeting a hero because they're a real threat and banning them for other reasons, like I say, your last game tilted you, or somebody just told you that that hero is OP, or you just think they're kind of annoying. Any of those other reasons are not a valid reason, I think, for how you use the ban system. So why does this happen, especially in lower ranks? Because obviously we know that in the higher rank it's not that much of an issue, because we had that whole weekly recall blog where they gave us a bunch of the ban rate statistics, where obviously we found out Sombra was getting picked a ton, and this is a part of the problem why I think Sombra gets banned so much in competitive, is it's not people necessarily picking her as a ban because she's strong. It's more of just these issues that lower ranks have, because they also said that players in Masters and above tend to not have this problem as much. They tend to be pretty in conjunction about, you know, what heroes should be banned, whereas in the lower ranks it's kind of just a free-for-all. So why this happens in lower ranks is a combination of factors, and I think most of them have to do with players just not having the experience or the knowledge to make better decisions. So there are at least three reasons why this happens. One is that the map knowledge is low. If you're bronze through gold, maybe even some plat players, odds are you're not looking at the map and thinking, okay, this is a push map, Zarya might dominate here, or we need to deny high ground, so Pharah or Widow could be an issue, you know what I mean? They just see ban screen, and they just think, oh, I'm just gonna pick what hero annoyed me yesterday. And most of the time, that tends to be a Sombra, Freya, or Zarya, right? Also, the understanding of the counter game at these lower ranks is limited. So, let's say Sombra gets through and hacks your backline a few times in one of the games that you have, right? Boom. Now that player is calling her broken for the next 6 games, maybe even for the rest of the season, maybe for the rest of the year, for all I know. They're not thinking that, hey, maybe I should swap to an Orisa or a Sigma to limit her value, or maybe I should be grouping up more to punish her if she overextends. Like, instead of learning counterplay, they just ban the threat entirely, right? And in doing so, they often ban someone who isn't really even a problem on that specific map. That's why, like I say, you see in the higher ranks, Sombra, while she is still one of the highest banned heroes, is not as universally banned as some of the other heroes are. And the players in the higher ranks kind of know how to deal with a Sombra well enough, right? They don't have to ban Sombra because they know if they get a Sombra, they know how to delete the Sombra. So, and the third thing, and I think that this is probably one of the biggest things, and it's kind of a part of a combination between the last two things, right? But it leads into the third thing, which is that herd mentality. Herd mentality is huge. Maybe, like I say, either they have a bad game against Freya or Sombra or whatever, or they watch a streamer who has a bad game, or they just have their friends or whatever banning one of these heroes all the time, or they hear from some YouTuber or whatever that says, oh, this so-and-so hero is meta or they're OP. Next thing you know, they're being banned on every map, even ones where they're not super impactful, because it becomes this feedback loop where people think, oh, well, if everyone's banning her, I guess I should too, without actually asking why, right? And to be real with you guys, I've fallen into this trap too. Okay, when the ban system came out in Season 16, I was banning Sombra and Freya in almost every match, not because I thought they were strong on that map, but just because they were annoying to play against and I didn't know how to necessarily counter them. And it's still something I have to learn, and I can't tell you how many games where I just insta-lock a Sombra and Freya ban, and then get, like, absolutely wrecked by, like, a Genji or something, and then think, oh, shit, like, why didn't I ban that instead? I wasn't thinking, I was just reacting, right? And that realization kind of hit me hard. So in Season 17, I've tried to be a bit more mindful, tried to actually take the time to consider who might be strong in the map we're playing, and what actually might make sense to remove. Even considering also, our preferred heroes that we have. That doesn't mean that it stopped Sombra and Freya from getting banned in, like, every match that I'm in. Zarya as well. But at least I'm trying to not do it myself. I'm trying to break out of that, herd mentality of just, oh, insta-ban Sombra, Freya, and Zarya all the time. So, you may be asking what the big deal is, right? What's the harm in banning someone just because you don't like playing against them? Well, here's what happens. You take away viable picks from your own teammates. I mean, if you've been on Reddit at all since the ban system came out, especially on Sombra mains, it is a post-apocalyptic wasteland over there. The Sombra players, they can't even play comp. They can't play comp. What's the point? Like, their hero just keeps getting banned all the time. So even when, players say, hey, I main Sombra, guess what? Sombra still gets banned because people don't wanna like take that into consideration. Number two is like you're wasting your ban, right? If that hero that you're trying to ban is not going to get much value out of that map or against that team comp, but you still ban them anyway, you've just left that ban slot open to someone who will wreck you, right? So maybe it's something like a Symmetra on Colosseo, or a Winston on Watchpoint, you know, like something like that. So you create these very stale ban patterns that don't actually reflect what's strong in the game right now. And it becomes predictable, makes the system less dynamic, less fun, and I say, for some people, makes them not even want to play competitive. Because what's the point if the heroes that they main are just going to get banned all the time? It's like using a power tool with no manual, right? Because you're given something with serious impact in how to affect the match, and instead of using it wisely, you're just swinging it around randomly and not making any use out of it. So when your team loses because you let a niche hero dominate the match while banning someone irrelevant, the blame isn't on Blizzard, it's how the system was used. So you may be asking yourself now, what can Blizzard do about it, right? I've seen some people suggest that Blizzard should add some kind of like data-driven information to the ban screen about, you know, what are the top 3 heroes banned on this map or whatever, or suggested bans. Personally, I don't think that would work, because people are already mindlessly banning heroes, right? Without even thinking about it. So if Blizzard starts recommending bans, people are just gonna follow those suggestions every single time. No thought, no adaptation. It'll just create another form of lazy banning. People won't have to think about it or understand why those suggestions are there in the first place. And then you may get another case kind of like this where it's, you know, you start using those same bans on every map, regardless. So it's just trading in one mindless ban slot for another, right? It's not really solving the problem. The reality is this is something that I don't think Blizzard themselves can fix with anything that they could do to the game. The system itself works, you just have to use it properly. And that's by communicating with your team, you know, trying to figure out what might be good to ban. Don't just give in to the peer pressure of, oh, this hero is banned on every single map, I guess we just go with that, right? And I know, and to be fair, I also know the fact that, you know, that a lot of people don't communicate, especially in the lower ranks. I mean, hell, even in the higher ranks, people tend to not communicate because the toxicity is so bad. And I know that you know, people don't want to, like, cause arguments, right? Because there are some people who will do that. I said before in one of my other videos that in Season 16, the one game that I played of competitive, well, one of the games I played of competitive, where Sombra was not banned, we got flamed by someone on our team for not banning them. So I can kind of see from another side of it how players might feel anxious to do that. I think at that point, like, if you don't have the know-how and you can't really communicate with your team, the best thing you could do is probably, you know, just pick what works for you, I guess. I mean, they've already added the preferred hero system, which does kind of help a little bit. It has also sometimes worked in preventing someone's main from getting banned, even if it is one of those more highly controversial heroes like Doom or Pharah or something like that. I do think that's a good thing. but there's really not much Blizzard can do about this. It's kind of up to the players to self-police the ban system. If you are someone who actually cares about improving, cares about playing smart, and using the ban system effectively and using it to win, then it's kind of on you to help steer things in the right direction. And obviously, you don't need to give your team a lecture before every game, but maybe, you know, just educating yourself on what works and what doesn't on each map, and also, you know, considering what your teammates are playing, can help inform your ban decisions a little bit more. Granted, like I say, I know that this game is toxic, right? And a lot of people aren't gonna want to, like, take that leap into suggesting something that goes against the grain, so to speak. But you can, even if you don't want to, like, have that conversation with your team, you can lead by example, I guess, is kind of what I'm trying to say. And try to vote for heroes that that you think are worth banning for that specific map, not just mindlessly banning like everyone else's. So, for my final thoughts on this, I do think that hero bans are one of the most impactful tools that we've ever been given in Overwatch competitive. And I do kind of like how they make competitive feel a bit more weighty in terms of, you know, the strategy involved. Because previously, before hero bans, the only time you'd actually use a hero ban system in Overwatch is if you were at the top level of play. Like, if you were participating in the OWCS or in the Overwatch League, that's when you'd use hero bans. But I'm glad that this is open up to everyone. It makes you feel a little bit like a more strategic player and a smarter player when you use it. If you use it correctly, that is, like I'm saying. But it only works if it's used wisely, like I say. And when we treat bans like personal vendettas or just kind of go with the crowd, we rob ourselves of the chance to play smarter, and to deny real threats. We can actually set up wins before the match even begins if we ban right. And to be honest, I know emotional bans probably will never go away entirely. Some people are just gonna ban Sombra every match, or they're gonna ban Freja every match, or they're gonna ban whatever hero streamer, top 500 streamer says is OP in top 500, even if it's a bronze 2 player. You know, like it's there are people who are just gonna use it and not think about it, but if you actually want to climb and want to have a healthier competitive environment, just think a little bit before you ban. Think about what the map is like, what you can counter around, what you can't counter around, you know, what heroes do you not know how to deal with right now, and vote for those rather than just you know, following the herd and voting against heroes that don't have a purpose to even be played on those maps. And don't use your bans just for kind of peace of mind on that, you know. But just that's basically it. That's basically it. Let me know what you guys in the comments think about which heroes you've seen banned the most this season or last season, what your ban strategy has been. We can start a conversation here on how to make the hero ban system actually work the way it was intended, but that's going to do it for me here today. Remember, guys, if you like the video, leave a like. If you didn't even dislike, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, I'm Passion, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Yeah.